This week on Jerusalem Dateline, the White House unveils President Trump's deal of the century. Will it succeed where all others have failed? We'll have an exclusive interview with US Ambassador David Friedman, one of the architects of the deal, and expert analysis with best-selling author Joel Rosenberg. Plus, a touching story about the youngest survivor from the Dachau concentration camp during the Holocaust. All this and more this week on Jerusalem Dateline. Hello and welcome to this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. I'm Chris Mitchell. President Trump finally unveiled his long-awaited peace plan at the White House. The plan provoked a variety of reactions, from outright rejection to enthusiastic optimism. With Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at his side, President Trump presented a plan that he believes will succeed where so many others have failed.
My vision presents a win-win opportunity for both sides, a realistic two-state solution that resolves the risk of Palestinian statehood to Israel's security. Today, Israel has taken a giant step toward peace.
Netanyahu praised President Trump's plan as history in the making.
And on this day, you too have charted a brilliant future for Israelis, Palestinians, and the region by presenting a realistic path to a durable peace.
The plan calls for Jerusalem to remain Israel's undivided capital. It calls for Israeli sovereignty over the Jordan Valley and Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria. It calls for a Palestinian state, but only if Palestinians recognize Israel as a Jewish state, renounce terrorism, and stop paying convicted terrorists. For the first time, Trump's peace plan includes a map showing what a future Palestinian state would look like. Here on the ground, Palestinians rioted in Ramallah while Israeli troops remain on high alert. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas immediately rejected it, calling it the slap of the century.
After the nonsense that we have heard today, we say 1,000 times, no, 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 to the deal of the century.
But some Sunni Arab nations surrounding Israel, like Egypt and Saudi Arabia, have issued positive statements about the plan. Middle East expert Joel Rosenberg, who has met many of these leaders, believes they may chart their own course.
I've had conversations, as you know, with a lot of these folks. I sense this is a question they're really asking. Should we start moving towards full peace with Israel, even before the Palestinian issue is resolved, the way Egypt did in 1979, the way Jordan did in 1994.
On the ground, President Trump's deal of the century continues to generate reaction among both Palestinians and Israelis. Take a look. Hundreds of Palestinians protested this week in the Jordan Valley, an area the peace plan allows Israel to annex. For Israelis, this region provides a vital strategic buffer, protecting their eastern border. Palestinians also rioted in Bethlehem, but if you're Palestinian and like the deal, you might want to keep it to yourself. Fatah, the political arm of the Palestinian Authority, posted this Hamas song on its Facebook page. It threatens violence to anyone who supports the deal. The word from Palestinian leaders in Ramallah or the UN is resistance.
We have fully agreed to start a plan to confront this scheme, the scheme of Trump and Netanyahu, which aims to end the entire Palestinian national cause.
In an exclusive interview with CBN's David Brody, U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman explained the plan hopes to bypass a corrupt Palestinian leadership.
Their business plan is to continue to foment this hatred. But the people within the territories, they are suffering. And they do have the internet. And when the Bahrain peace plan came out, the economic part of the peace plan, there were over 1 million hits within the Palestinian communities. I think we'll have even more here. We're translating it into Arabic. They can read it. They can understand the future this presents for them.
The plan supports a Palestinian state. Some Jewish leaders in Judea and Samaria remain opposed to that idea, but others found positive aspects in the plan.
President Trump recognizes that Israel will have a right forever and to annex areas like Hebron and Shiloh. He recognized them not only as vital to Israeli security, but as vital to our national and biblical heritage.
One key reaction came from the Sunni Islamic Arab nations of the region. Middle East expert Joel Rosenberg has met many of their leaders.
They see it as positive. They were applauding President Trump. They weren't condemning. They weren't throwing up their hands and saying this is ridiculous. And they were urging the Palestinian leadership to come back to the table and take this plan seriously and negotiate.
These Arab states and the Trump administration see the deal of the century as an opportunity for the Palestinians. The late Israeli diplomat Abba Eban once said, "The Palestinians never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity." Many hope they don't miss this one. The US Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, is one of the architects of President Trump's deal of the century. CBN News senior political analyst David Brody sat down with Friedman to find out why he believes this plan will work when all others have failed, and why it would mean good news for Christians traveling to the Holy Land.
There were several people who provided quite a bit of input into this Middle East peace plan. One of them, a significant player, U.S. Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman. He has seen tension between the Israelis and the Palestinians go on for a very long time. So the question now, why this plan, why now, and can it even work?
What this plan does is it presents a hard offer to the Palestinians, the first they've ever received, the first time Israel's ever identified with specificity what are the territorial dimensions within which they're willing to live side by side with the Palestinian state. What are the terms under which they will accept the Palestinian state? What are the security protocols under which they will live next to a Palestinian state? So it's a really hard offer for the Palestinians. And on top of that, Palestinians have 4 years to claim the prize. 4 tough years. They have to, in that period, stop the malign activity. Hamas has to disarm. Islamic Jihad has to disarm. They have to stop paying terrorists. They have to stop inciting hate.
How do they even get there at this point? They don't trust Trump. They don't trust folks coming from this administration.
Well, look, this was designed to, if not regain or obtain the trust of the leadership, at least to obtain the interest of the Palestinian people. Look, the leadership has failed the Palestinian people for generations. They've become pawns in larger conflicts, and the leadership has shown itself to be very adept at misdirecting the resources of the territory to their own pockets. And so the fact that they're not jumping for joy right now is not a great surprise to us, because they thrive. Their business plan is to continue to foment this hatred. But the people within the territories, they are suffering.
As for evangelicals traveling to Israel, Friedman says there's good news in this proposed peace plan. Israel would have sovereignty over many historical biblical sites, which right now are hard to get to.
Israel has not yet obtained sovereignty over those territories. If they do, and our plan contemplates that Israel will, you're talking about opening up the Bible, bringing it back to life in ways that I think your listeners could not have even have imagined. I mean, imagine just ease of travel under Israeli civilian autonomy, Hebron, Beit El, Shiloh. I mean, it's an opportunity for biblical tourism that I think will grow and flourish in profound ways.
On this president, the Israeli transportation minister, I think, just recently said he's God's messenger in the White House. I mean, is Trump kind of heaven sent for you guys?
Well, look, when it comes to events that transpire, whether it's with regard to Israel or anything else, I mean, I'm a believer. I believe that God runs the world. So that would apply to the president. It would apply to you, me, and the cameraman. So that's not news to me.
And just to clarify, you would say it's not news to you. You're talking about kind of a, God puts people in certain places for certain times, kind of for such a time as this?
I think God puts people in places for certain times, at all times.
And Trump is Exhibit A of this.
He sure is.
David Brody, CBN News.
Coming up, we'll hear more from Middle East expert Joel Rosenberg about the deal of the century, which he says is both compassionate and highly controversial, and how to pray.
Roman soldiers destroy the Second Temple of Jerusalem. Centuries of eyewitnesses say the temple treasures survived. But where are they?
They went from Jerusalem to Rome, Rome to Carthage, Carthage to Byzantium.
Historians are silent about what happened to it next.
CBN CBN Documentaries presents the worldwide release of Treasures of the Second Temple.
So does it still exist today?
A story of mystery.
Where is it?
Calamity.
Most of the victims were butchered.
And destiny.
The possibility to dig is impossible.
Get your copy of Treasures of the Second Temple. Yours for a gift of any amount to CBN Documentaries.
Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Catholic Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Get Protect Your Sleep and live your best life with innovative information from 5 leading sleep experts.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
Discover a sleep-enhancing bedtime routine, how to put insomnia to rest, learn how to relieve pain that disturbs sleep, and much more in Protect Your Sleep.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Don't miss out on this brand new series.
For more analysis on President Trump's deal of the century, I spoke with author and Middle East expert Joel Rosenberg about reactions here and abroad and the biblical implications of the deal. Joel, great to be with you once again.
Great to be with you, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the peace plan that was finally unveiled. Here it is, 181 pages, Peace to Prosperity. What were your first initial reactions when you heard the plan?
This was historic. It was dramatic. It's going to be highly controversial. When you dig into the details of the plan, there's a lot for people to hate in multiple directions. But I have to say, the first read, and I have not gotten through 181 pages yet, but it is the most creative, innovative, and I would say compassionate peace plan that I've seen put out. It is both balanced and shows particular compassion for Israeli security fears and Palestinian economic needs. And I think in that way, it was a pretty dramatic rollout, and it's a pretty fascinating plan. I think most Israelis are going to be very, very happy, very, very grateful to President Trump. But some of the settler community, they want it all, right. And it is biblically all given to Israel scripturally, so that is a fascinating theological and now political tension.
One other group that's really involved and interested in what's happening, and many of them were in the room there at the White House yesterday, is evangelical Christians. Sure. They've had some input into this as well. Right. How do you see them reacting to this theologically and politically?
I think most evangelical Christians are going to be very happy. I don't think they're going to read 181 pages, to be honest. I think they're going to be watching the signals. The signal is most evangelical Christians in America appreciate President Trump's support for the defense of Israel, and so he's happy with the plan. They'll say, we're happy with the plan. Netanyahu's happy with the plan, and Netanyahu's chief rival is happy with the plan. It's hard to be more Zionist and pro-Israel than the Israeli government. Now, at the leader level, there will be evangelical leaders who may have, I think will have, some serious problems with a plan that creates a sovereign Palestinian state, demilitarized though it would be, and an East Jerusalem capital. I've been in the room at the White House with very senior, very well-known evangelical leaders who have been adamant in months gone by, do not do this under any circumstances.
And the scripture many look at is Joel chapter 3. It talks about God judging the nations by dividing his land.
Right, he says, I will judge all the nations that divide my land. This is a plan to divide the land. Now, it's maybe the most creative and compassionate version of that, but nevertheless, it is dividing the land. And it's offering a state to a Palestinian leadership, half of which is controlled by a Hamas terrorist organization in Gaza. The other half is controlled by Mahmoud Abbas. His Palestinian Authority government is riddled with corruption. He has no intention of going anywhere and no intention of making peace. So it's not clear how this plan could actually result in a deal, or why it would be wise to really offer something so good from the Palestinian perspective, actually, to people who seem unable to run this well or even want it.
How would you encourage people right now to be praying for Israelis, Palestinians in this situation?
Sure. Well, I would start with asking for prayer for Prime Minister Netanyahu, obviously for Benny Gantz and for their advisors as we head into an election. What we need to pray, among other things, is that these would be like the sons of Issachar, as the Bible says, men who understand the times and know what Israel should do. That's a great word for anybody, certainly for the leaders of Israel. So that's the first thing. We do need to pray for the Palestinian people. They are suffering. They are suffering. They're suffering bad economic conditions. They're suffering dashed expectations over 100 years and corrupt leadership that isn't helping them. They are sheep without a shepherd. But I would also add one other thing. I would ask for prayer for the Arab leaders in the rest of the region. I sense this is a question they're really asking. Should we start moving towards full peace with Israel, even before the Palestinian issue is resolved, the way Egypt did in 1979, the way Jordan did in 1994? And of course, we need to pray that there isn't violence and terrorism as a result of this, which is something that's very possible.
Yeah. Joel, thanks so much for your expertise, insight.
Great to be with you. Thank you, Chris.
Up next, a shocking report about how the Palestinian Authority spreads anti-Semitism to its people.
Now, for a limited time, you can get 5 of CBN's critically acclaimed documentaries. Experience the rebirth of the modern state of Israel.
The historic bonds between the Jewish people and the land of Israel cannot be broken.
Relive the battle for Jerusalem in the Six-Day War.
Jerusalem is yours, forever.
Discover how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
When people need us, we volunteer and we come and help.
Explore the world of Israeli technological innovation.
We're people of dreams. God gives us dreams. And that's really the roots, I think, of much of our innovation.
And understand the biggest land dispute in history.
Many Palestinian Arabs claim that the Jews stole Arab land. But is that the real story?
This exclusive Israel DVD collection can be yours for a gift of $40 or more. Call now or go online to get your Israel DVD bundle today.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times best-selling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Anti-Semitism among Palestinians is among the worst in the world, according to a report released in conjunction with the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Still, as CBN News Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl reports, world leaders have done little to challenge it.
In an investigative report, Palestinian Media Watch makes clear in this video the extent of anti-Semitism spewed by the Palestinian Authority. It goes on to reveal shocking content from Fatah's official Facebook page and material aired on official Palestinian Authority television. From Palestinian Authority Chairman Mahmoud Abbas,
the hatred of the Jews is not due to their religion, but due to their social role that was connected to usury and banks.
To educational and religious leaders.
If a fish in the sea fights with another fish, I am sure the Jews are behind it. Humanity will never be able to live together with them. These malignant genes and cursed characteristics continue in them. They inherit it from father to son.
Fatah produces many horrific films, hateful about Jews, hateful against Israel. They glorify terrorists who kill Israelis.
Palestinian Media Watch director Itamar Marcus says the PA's promoting of anti-Semitism for years has turned Palestinians into the most anti-Semitic people in the world. According to an Anti-Defamation League poll taken several years ago, 93% of Palestinians believed a number of cruel and negative stereotypes about Jews. And children are taught to spread those false messages.
Our enemy Zion is Satan with a tail.
O most evil among creations, O barbaric monkeys, wretched pigs, fight the Jews, kill them, and defeat them.
Marcus told CBN News about a recent anti-Semitic film produced by the Palestinian Authority in an earlier interview.
They talk about Jews as planning to subjugate humanity. The Jews built ghettos, they said, on their own because they were so arrogant they didn't want to live amongst the non-Jews. This video said that the Jews schemed together with the Nazis to burn Jews in order to make profits.
The ironic timing? When the world marked International Holocaust Remembrance Day on the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the Nazis' most notorious death camp, Auschwitz. While world leaders pledged never again, Marcus says young, impressionable Palestinians are being taken in the opposite direction by their leaders.
The messages that the Nazis were saying and the lies of the Jews want to control the world, you hear the lies enough time and people start believing them.
Marcus is challenging international leaders to take action against the Palestinian Authority for this Jewish hatred. Otherwise, the pledge never again will be a forgotten failure. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Still ahead, see the touching story of the younger survivor of the Nazis' first concentration camp, and how CBN is helping.
Christians around the world are standing with the Israelis. But why? In CBN's free magazine, Friends of Israel, you'll discover why Christians are supporting the Jewish state, how Israel is fulfilling prophecy as a light to the nations, and ways you can pray for the people of Israel. Israel needs the support of friends like you. Call now or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Friends of Israel.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
The world recently marked International Holocaust Remembrance Day and the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz death camp. Here's how CBN helped the youngest survivor of the Dachau concentration camp, who is now living in Israel.
When Yosef Kleinman holds the same striped hat he was forced to wear as a boy in Auschwitz, memories of life in the Nazi concentration camp come flooding back.
It was chaos as my family left the train. My father was dehydrated, so I helped him walk. Then a guard separated us into two lines. I went to the right, to life, and father was sent left, to death.
Yosef saw the black smoke of the chimneys, and a fellow prisoner told him that was his family. Yosef was processed into the camp, where he received a jacket with a number and later came face to face with the man known as the Angel of Death.
Joseph Mengele was personally selecting older boys to work in the Dachau camp. I wasn't big enough to be selected, but when Mengele wasn't looking, I slipped into the older boys group. That is the proudest moment of my life, knowing that I cheated the Angel of Death.
Yosef was the youngest survivor to be liberated from Dachau by the Americans. He made his way to Israel, where he fought in the 1948 War of Independence, and he testified in the Nuremberg trials. Now he's almost 90 and lives in Jerusalem with his wife. The years and the physical torment of the camps are catching up to him.
I had heart surgery and lost a lot of weight. My jaw shrank and my dentures wouldn't fit properly, causing sores in my mouth and an infection. It was a nightmare because I couldn't eat, and it brought back memories of not having food in the camps.
Yosef doesn't have much money and dentures are expensive. So CBN Israel bought him a brand new set. We even got him his favorite snacks to enjoy with his new teeth. Thanks to the new dentures, his infections are healed. He's eating well and recovering quickly, making him and his wife very happy.
I am so grateful for all that you have done. It's wonderful to be able to eat again and be healthy.
Thanks to CBN Israel donors, Yosef can enjoy a better quality of life, and that helps keep the trauma of Auschwitz at bay.
It's a great feeling to know that as I get older, I can look to you for support. Thank you for everything that you have done for me and other Holocaust survivors.
Well, that's one redemptive story coming 75 years after the Holocaust. Well, that's all for this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. Also, if you'd like to come here to the Holy Land, please join me later this year from June 12th to the 20th for an exclusive tour called Israel Through the Eyes of a Reporter. If you'd like to know more, you can go to noseworthytravel.com/Chris Mitchell 2020 or call 1-800-929-4684. Well, that's all for this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. I'm Chris Mitchell. We'll see you next time on Jerusalem Dateline.